Hello friends, this is ZAINKEEPSCODE and today we are going to build this amazing, productive and industry standard dashboard using Reactjs framework. Tutorial is equally suitable for beginners as well as experienced developers. As you have already seen the features, so we are not gonna waste the time again. Rather, we will see what we are going to learn through this project. So first comes first, we will make this whole project by using pure CSS. No more CSS frameworks. Next, when we switch between different pages, here you notice our browser is not reloading because we have applied the React Router version 6. So by following this tutorial, you will learn how you can apply React Router in your React projects for such kind of feature. On the next calendar page, here we are going to integrate fullcalendar.io. It's a kind of very famous library which allows you to make your own custom calendars. So we'll learn how we can make a custom calendar according to our theme and specifications. On the next, here we have a Trello board. Here most of the things are run from scratch. You can move the list, you can move the action items, you can add new action items, and you can even delete the action items. At the last, here we have a material UI data grid where you can perform almost all kind of functionalities. And one thing that I forgot to mention, that on the dashboard here you see we have very beautiful chart. I have integrated the React e-charts and you will learn how you can make these kinds of custom themes for your charts which suits your project. Because most of the times when we see over the internet, we have the charts that have their default styling and it's very hard to customize them. So by following this, you will definitely learn how you can customize the charts. And here we also have a donut chart from the same React e-charts. So without wasting the time, let's start our tutorial. Here I am in a blank VS Code directory. To start this project, I have made a starter pack. By cloning that file, you will have basically all the required files like the dummy data and the images. So we don't have to browse through the internet during the project. You just have to copy this link I will provide in the description of video, and then in the VS Code, open your terminal. You can do this by pressing Ctrl+J and write git clone and paste the URL. Just hit the enter button so it will clone our repository. Okay, so here it is cloned. It is just a very small repository. Here I will do reveal in file explorer. So just close the previous instance of VS Code, open this new folder and open the VS Code in this directory. Okay, the only requirement for this project is the Node.js that should be installed in your computer. So here you can download the Node.js by clicking on this Windows installer if you are on the Windows, otherwise for the Mac OS, and also this is for the Linux one. I am on the Windows, so I will continue with this, but I have already installed. So next I will open my PowerShell to show you the version of my Node.js. Here I will write node-v. So my Node.js version is 18.4.0. The other thing you have to install is the yarn. You can install the yarn by writing npm I, then for the global installation write the flag of -g and write yarn. It will install yarn globally in your computer. As I have already installed, so that was very quick for me, but it can take like 15 to 16 seconds on your side. Here in the repository I will again open the terminal and I will simply write one command yarn, and it will install all the dependencies required to complete this project. So just hit the enter button. Here it will take some time until it is installing. Let me give you a walkthrough of our starter pack. So if I close the terminal here, and first of all in the index.html, it is a very basic React setup of index.html, and then in the package.json, here I have listed all the required dependencies. And then in the source folder, first of all I have app.jsx, which has nothing special but just a span of subscribe ZAINKEEPSCODE that you should do definitely. And in the other one, in the index.css, here I have just made some variable of colors and shades. Then for the complete body, I have made the margin and padding as 0, then box sizing at border box. And yeah, these are again some general classes that I will use again and again, so I have defined them here. And they are nothing special, just the background color filter with some width and height. By the way, I will explain each of them during the projects, so don't worry about this. For next, on the main.jsx, again this is the default React setup, and in the data folder I have only one file, index.js. Basically in the index.js I have all the dummy data that is required. So if I minimize, like this is an array of object. Here you can see for the cost data, then there is orders data. Similarly, I will explain these functions, and then again this is dummy data for the calendar, and yeah, this board data, then the users data for our data grid. This is our complete starter pack. Now if I take a look at my installation of dependencies, yeah, they are installed successfully. To start this project, you just have to write one command, yarn run dev. So it will start our project in the development mode. As our project is using Vite, so it is very fast in loading the development version. Now if I click on this link by Ctrl plus click, so here is the result. As expected, it is saying only one line, subscribe ZAINKEEPSCODE. The next target is to add the fonts that are required for this project in our VS Code. That means in our code we have to install the fonts now. So I will visit the Google Fonts website. I am taking fonts from Google Fonts because they are openly available for anyone. So here I am going to use very famous font with the name Public Sense. I will grab some variants like the 300, regular 400, and then I think, yeah, 500. The other one should be the, okay, 600 and then 700. Yeah, and here it has made the link line like the HTML for linking these fonts automatically. I just have to copy this like this, or I can simply press this button, and in my code, here in my code I will visit my actually index.html, and okay, these are the some pre-linked. Because of the starter pack, I am deleting this and pasting as a fresh links here. Okay, and let's save this. And now if I have a look at my, still the fonts are not applied. Why this happened? Because if I have a look at my index.css, which is a kind of global css that I have written, and you will get it as a pre-built from the starter pack. Here you can see I have described everything inside the dashboard ID. I want everything to inherit the parent styling from the ID dashboard. So what I have to do, I will go to my app.jsx here, and instead of just simply this span, I am removing this and making a div. Inside this div, let's say write subscribe ZAINKEEPSCODE, and now I will give it an ID of dashboard. Let's save this. Now if I visit the output is written in a perfect font family. And there is one other thing, that the background is now changed to black. Why this happened? Because in the index.css, by the way, you can use this quick switching between the files by pressing Ctrl P in your browser, in your VS Code, and such prompt will be open and you can visit your any file by writing in this search bar. So in the index.css, here you can see I have made the background color as a variable of black, which is written here, but we will see them in detail later. For now, just focus on the font family. So the font family is changed, means our code is working fine. Let's make the directory structure now. So inside my src folder, I am going to make some folders now. First folder will be the folder of individual components which will be reusable in our project. Then the other folder should be pages, which will define the different pages like the calendar, the Trello board, and the users grid. So all of those parent pages will lie inside the pages folder. Now after this, I will also have a folder with the name of store. In this store, we will have the different kind of global state managements. I will explain these managements later in the tutorial. So first of all, let's start by making our first page inside the pages folder. So inside the pages folder, I am going to make a page with the name of dashboard. This is basically an other folder inside the pages folder, and inside this dashboard folder I will make a new file dashboard.jsx and then another dashboard.module.css. Okay, let's open both of them side by side. Okay, here in the .jsx I am writing RAFC, which is a shortcut, and you can enable these shortcuts by installing a very cool library named as ES6. So not basic library, an extension. And if I go to this extension section and here write ES6, okay, here you can see, yeah, I have already installed this. So this extension is giving me these shortcuts, basically the snippets. And now I will delete this import React from React. This is my dashboard and it is exported as default. I have to include CSS here, so import CSS from the relative dashboard.module.css that I have just made. Okay, why I am using the modular CSS? Because modular CSS will allow us to use the same class names without the confusion of collapse. Means you notice many times when you use the pure HTML and CSS, many times there occur a conflict between the same class names and your styling becomes a mess. So to avoid this, we have the modular structure. Let's say I have two containers in two different components. Both of those container classes will have a different ID, which will be concatenated in their names, and so as a result, both of them will be unique. So this is the beauty of modular CSS, and we can easily use this method in the React. By the way, further moving on, I have made the first dashboard page. I will visit to my app.jsx, and here instead of this div, I'll make some routes here. Okay, let's start by making the parent ID of dashboard. So div, and this div is going to be have an ID of dashboard. What is this dashboard actually? So here if I open my index.css and if I visit the dashboard, here you can see this is the definition of the baseline of our app. Means our app is going to have an height of 100 view height, means the 100% of viewport, and the width of 100% of viewport width. The background color is going to be a black variable, and this variable I have defined here inside my root. This is the color of #111. Okay, then further moving on, the color of font should be white in our whole application, and the font family is going to be Public Sans that we have imported from the Google Fonts, and at the end we have overflow hidden, so nothing is going to be overflow across these dimensions. Okay, now inside this ID I am going to define all the routes. I will import some predefined components from the React router DOM to enable the routing. So on the very top I will say import browser router route and then routes from React router DOM. So like this. So these are the required components for making the routes. Now the most parent component should be the browser router. So browser router, and I have to enclose this again inside the browser router, and inside this I have routes of my application. The first route is going to be the layout of our application. So the default path is described as like this, and the element should be not the home but the layout. I will explain you how we can make the layouts and what is actually the layout. Okay, so inside the layout, the first route is going to be the dashboard. Yeah, we have made the dashboard component, means the page. I can auto import this component by pressing Ctrl plus space, and it will give me this suggestion. So as you can see on the second number, I have suggestion from my pages folder. I click on this and now it is imported on the top. Okay, now let's talk about what is this layout. If I go to the developed version here you can see when I visit between different pages, if you notice in the very baseline we have three blurs, like the three gradients. One is blue and then orange and red, and then at the top we have the date, the search bar and the profile section. Now these baseline elements are not changing when we are navigating between different pages. Why these are not changing? Because these are the part of layout, and the layout is always be static. All the other content should be changed on the basis of user actions, but the layout should remain same. And same case is for the sidebar. Here you can see all the content is changing except these baseline elements and this sidebar. Okay, so for defining these things we have to take the approach of layout component. So inside the components I am going to make an other folder with the name of layout, and inside this I will make a layout.jsx, make an other file with the name of layout.module.css. Yeah, again open them side by side like this. Here in the layout I am writing RAFCE, save this, and I am also saving the app.jsx, but of course it will raise me an error because layout is not defined. As if I visit here you can see there is an error, and if I inspect this it is saying layout is not defined, which is pretty much expected. Okay, let's back to the editor and move to the layout.jsx. Delete this React from here, and then here I am going to make a div with the class name of container. But before this I have to import the CSS. So from the relative layout.module.css, okay, and then here write div.css.container. Okay, here notice the special syntax that I have used to specify the class name css.container. So it is specifying that include the container class name from our module of layout.module.css. Okay, so whenever I define like this container, and let's say for now give it a background color of red and a height of 100 view height, let's save this layout, and inside the app.jsx again here I will press the Ctrl plus space. It is giving me a suggestion which is correct. Let's save this, and if I visit here you can see the whole background is red because I have given the class name as css.container. So it is taking class name from this file, and if I inspect this by pressing Ctrl Shift I and then click here you can see the container class name is converted something like container underscore 1yccpy1. This strange class name is just because of its modular nature. Okay, let's remove these things from here. Go to the layout.jsx, and here in the layout I will have the two major components. The first component should be the sidebar, so for now just write it as sidebar, and the other component should be the baseline things. Like in the developed version here you can see the baseline elements are these gradients and top bars. So all of these things I will put them in a class name of dashboard. So div.css.dashboard, okay, and then div.css.top base gradients, and as you know we have three gradients, so write div multiply by 3. It will make 3 divs, and each of will have a class name. If I go to my index.css now, okay, here Here I have defined three gradients: the red gradient, orange gradient, and blue gradient. Let's apply the gradient red and see what will happen. So gradient red, let's apply this and visit here. Here a gradient is applied. Now explain what is basically this. The width should be 200 pixel with the height of 200 pixel. This is obvious. Now here I have defined a background color and I applied a filter on this div with the blur value of 90 pixels. So if I remove this blur value, this will be a solid color. Here you can see, and if I apply this blur, now it is a type of gradient. And then the position is absolute because we have to move them according to a specific. After this, I should apply the second class name. The second class name is gradient orange, and then the third one. So let's remove the previous one, and instead of orange, the third one should be blue. Okay, let's save this and move to our layout.module.css. But I am not touching the sidebar for now. I am just focusing on those gradients and their shapes. So inside the container, I am making it as display flex, and then for the dashboard specifically, I make it position of relative with the width of 100%. Then I am giving it a z index of 0, so it should be always beneath all the other elements on the screen. Okay, now let's target the top base gradients div. So yeah, and for them I am making position as absolute with the top of 0, left of 0, and the special trick to make something with 100%, we can also write it as left 0 and right 0, so it will stretch the top gradients div across the size of parent div. Okay, and then I am making the height of 20 rem with the overflow of hidden, so our blurs should not be outside of this div with the z index of -1. So yes, you have predicted rightly that top base gradient is under the dashboard. Okay, let's save this and see here. Here we have this kind of result. Of course, it's not too much good. See what we can do more. And one thing that I have just noticed, that we are at a very huge zoom level, which is making it too much unrepresentable. So I'm making it a default 100%, and now you can clearly have an idea of sidebar here and then this top base gradient. The only thing remaining is to give the specific positions to these blurs. Okay, so here in my code I will say inside the top base gradients I will target the second child. The second child is the orange blur and it should be in the middle of our top base gradient. So left should be 40%. Let's see here. Yeah, now it's in the middle. It's time to fix the blue one. So top base gradient and the nth child 3 means target the third child inside the gradients and make the right as 0. Let's see here. Yeah, now they are in the correct position as we are expecting and as they are present in the developed version. Next, let's focus on the header of our application. I can minimize these gradients, and after these gradients I am going to make the header css.header. If I visit the developed version, okay, here the developed version, here you can see the header is containing these 3 elements, so we will make these 3 one by one. Here in the header, the first thing is going to be the today's date in a specific format. So for this particular purpose I have installed a library which is called as movement. The benefit of using this is it can easily transform your dates in any required format. Just you have to describe your format in this format function and it will give all of the rest job for you automatically. Okay, I want this specific format. The first one should be the complete day name, the second one should be the date, and then the 3 words of the month name and the 4th integers of year. if I save this, by the way, I have to import the movement. So okay, sorry, I have to import the format. Press Ctrl plus space and it is giving me auto suggestion. Okay, this should be, yeah. So if I see here the movement is imported successfully, let's save this and see the results. Here the date is applied. Okay, now the second element should be our search bar. So div.css.search bar, and in the search bar I will require an icon of search. So let's write by search with the size of 20 pixels, and then an input with the type of text, and the placeholder for this input should be search only. Okay, I don't know why this terminal is keep opening again and again. I will search about. Okay, I have imported this search icon from the React icons, which is a very famous library because this is containing most of the required icons. If I search the React icons, here you can see this website. It is in it is encapsulating the icons from the art design, bootstrap, box icons. You can have almost all the icons here that you will use in your project. So I really like this library and I will definitely recommend you guys to use this. Okay, so to import this from the React icons, here I will write import by search from React icons and then the by collection. Okay, let's save this. After this, the third one is our profile. So css.profile. First of all, I will require an image for the person. So I will say profile.png. Here you can see I have given the default directory name with just a single dot. Why? Because when I will target an image or a file with just single dot, it will take you towards the public folder and it will search inside the public data where is the profile.png. Here you can see we have a profile.png, so it will take this and it will apply this in this image. Okay, for the art I will say person image, let's say only for now. You can say anything you want, and then on the next I will have a div for the details. So css.details, the first one, I think I will be having two spans here. So first one should be the name, which is the Dennis T1, very cool name by the way, and then Davis T1 at the rate gmail.com. Let's format by pressing shift alt F. By the way, I have installed the prettier extension. If you click here and search for the prettier, okay, yeah, this extension will come. You just have to install this. So if I minimize my code like search bar, profile, and date, yeah, I can't minimize the date because it's just a single element. So I have completed my header with these three required elements, and these are the gradients. Cool. Now if I save this and have a look here, yeah, it's time to style these things. So I will move to my layout.module.css. I think I should make this more bigger now because we have to focus this, and I will target the header. First of all, for the header I will make display flex with the padding of 2 rem and the 4 rem. Then I will make a line item center and justify content space between. So by making space between, they will be spreaded along the screen width. Save this. See, yeah, padding is applied and flex is applied with the space between. Now I have to target the date, which is the first child, means the first direct child of our header. So I can write something like this: nth child 1 of the header, and make the font size as 1.2 rem. Let's see, yeah, very fine. The second thing is I have to customize the search bar. So for the search bar, I am giving it some background color. You just have to copy and paste it from this video. Yeah, this one with the width of 30% and maximum width that it can attain is 25 rem. So I am expecting that on a very huge screens, means very huge in their widths, it should not be expanded too much. It should be limited only to 25 rem. Okay, now I am giving it a width, sorry, the padding of 1 rem and 0 rem. Here should be m. For next, make the border radius of 8 pixels. Still we have not targeted the input element inside the search bar. So by the way, keep going. Height of 2 rem with the display flags and align item center with the border of 2 pixel solid, and again I am going to give it a nice color for the border and justify content center with the gap of 8 pixels. Let's save this. Yeah, it has the gap of, sorry, here should be p. It has the gap of 8 pixels and items are aligned in the center. The next thing is we should target this input element because we are trying to make a gesture. The search bar is exactly the input. Okay, so for the input I will say the background should be transparent with the color of font white and the outline should be none. By the way, this outline is the border which comes when you click on an input element. The border appears, which is basically giving a gesture of focus, so we don't want it here. And then a border should be none for this one, the padding 0 and the width of 100%. Let's save this. Yeah, really cool, working fine, but there are some problems with the padding. We will fix this. Let's move to the code here, and for this padding, if I make this like 1 rem, yeah, now this is exactly what we require. Yeah, it's time to focus on the profile side. So after this search bar input, here I will target the profile, and for the profile again display flags with the gap of 1 rem, line item center and justify content center. Let's see. Yeah, everything is aligned because of flex box. And then the profile is having an image. Make the height as 50 pixels and the width of 50 pixels. Let's see. Yeah, applied very fine. The third thing is the details. If I come here to the profile section, you can see we basically have two elements. The one is the image, the second one is the details. So yeah, you have a correct idea that we are going to make it display flags with the direction of column. So let's make this details with the display flags with the flex direction of column. Let's save this. There should be some space between these things, so I am giving a gap of 0.5 rem. Let's see. Yeah, looking good now. The next thing is I want that the name should be bold and should be bigger. So I will say the details have its first child of name. Make the font size of 1 rem for that one. Yeah, so I think only 1 rem. I can try font weight of bold. Yeah, looking fine. I should keep the font weight of bold. And this is it. Our header is completed now. You can see here the developed version and our version are having exactly the same headers. The width difference is just because of sidebar. We have not developed this sidebar yet. So our next target is to target this sidebar. Now I will make a new folder inside the components with the name of sidebar. So sidebar, and inside this folder I will make two files, sidebar.jsx and the modular css, so sidebar.module.css. Okay, let's open them side by side like this. Here RAFCE for the React fat arrow function, and okay, let's make the font bigger. Now here I will import the css. So from the relative sidebar dot module dot css, yeah, let's make a container for our sidebar. So div dot css dot container. Okay, there are some problems like this one. Okay, to make the sidebar I have to import some icons. So first let's import them in our component. Here under the css I have imported these 5 icons. Here you can see all of these icons are from the React icons. This one, this and this one. We will use them to make the icons in our sidebar. Okay, now inside the container the first thing that should be is the logo. So I am making an image and giving it a source of logo.png. Here if I go to my public, here you can see I have logo.png, so I am referencing here. And let's give the alt text of logo. I would also give it a class name of css dot logo, like this. Now the second thing is the menu, which will contain all our links to different pages. So here I am making a div with the class name of menu. Inside this I will make some nav links. So to make the nav links I have to import the nav link first from the React router. Nav link from React router DOM. Yeah, okay. So the first nav link should be to our home page, which is the dashboard page. So here I will say towards the dashboard, and then the next thing is its class name. So I will say the class name is css dot item for now, and we also have to give a title. So I am giving a title of, let's say, dashboard. Okay, so here's a problem. It is saying nav link is not there. Why it's saying like, okay, I have made a mistake here. It should be capital L. Okay. So I have to close this nav link, so like this one. Now within this nav link we can put some children. So children is going to be our icon. So here I'm saying empty space dashboard, and I would also give it a size of 30 pixels. After this, similarly I will make the other nav links with their icon. So I am just pasting some code, format it. Okay, let's read line by line. Here I will make some spaces. This is our first nav link, which is towards the main dashboard page, and it is having an icon of empty space dashboard. Then the second link is towards the calendar page. Similarly, it also has an icon inside it. Then the Trello board page, and at the last we have the users data grid. So now let's save this, and inside our layout.jsx, instead of just saying our dummy sidebar here, this time I will say the proper sidebar component. Yeah, it is auto imported. Here you can see. Let's save this and see the results. Okay, here is the sidebar with the proper icons. Of course it is not styled yet, so let's move towards the styling of our sidebar. So inside the css I will target the container. Inside it I will make the height of 100% viewport with the width of 6% of the total screen, and the max width should be 6 rem. So on the very wide screen it should not be too much wide. With the display flex direction of cost column, because the alignment of sidebar is in vertical. Then the line item center, then the padding of 2 rem and 0 rem. The background color is something specific. You can just copy and paste from this video. So yeah, something like this. Format the code. Let's make some more styling. After this container I will say the logo should have the width of 45% of total sidebar width with the max width of 5 rem. Let's save this, and yeah, logo is having a good width and height now. After this I will do some styling for the menu. First of all, margin top should be 4 rem from the logo. After this I will make it display flex with the flex direction of column, and at the last the gap between the icons should be 5 rem. Let's save this, and yeah. And the one thing that I am noticing here, that the color is very strange. It should not be blue, it should be white. So I will say the menu is containing some SVGs, and for all of them fill them with the white color, and the width should be 3 rem of each SVG, so they are aligned in a proper shape. One thing to notice that all of these icons are actually the SVGs that are imported from the React icons. Therefore, I am targeting the SVGs in within the menu. If I save this and see the results here, okay, there is some problem. Let's see what happened. Okay, I figured it out. Actually, the SVG is not the direct child of menu, so we can't write like this. I can write like item is having SVGs. So if I save this, yeah, now it is having a proper color. Next, we are going to integrate our layout with the pages. Means our first page is the dashboard. So in the dashboard, for now we are just having a text which is saying only the line dashboard. And here in the layout, there is no connection between the pages and the layout. So to make a connection, first of all, I will minimize this profile section, and after this profile, here I will say css.content, and I will import the outlet from React router DOM. Basically what outlet do here is, if we go to the app.jsx and you see the layout is the most parent route, all the other routes like the dashboard, and further we are going to make the data grids and the Trello board, all are going to be nested inside this layout route. So this is saying the layout component is going to be common for all the pages. This is what exactly outlet is doing. Outlet is saying these things are common, and whichever the page is, it is going to be inside this outlet. Okay, so now you have an idea that, let's say I have a dashboard page. So first of all, let's make a default route for the dashboard. Here I will say the path name is going to be the use location from React router DOM, and then I will make a condition. Okay, I will make the condition, let's say here, and I am saying making the dashboard as the default route. For doing this, I will say if the path name is going to be just a default path, then navigate navigate is going to be imported from React router DOM. Again, navigate to the dashboard like this. And yeah, on the dashboard path we are rendering the dashboard page like you have. So if I save it here and see my output, here the dashboard is rendering and all the other things are static, and I think I have put this content inside a wrong div. It should be moved here, and let's close this thing. Yeah, inside dashboard, yeah, the outlet should be outside of the header. Previously I was rendering it inside the header. Let's save it. Here we can see dashboard is in a correct place. So that's mean now we can finally start the development of our first page dashboard. Here we are going to make the vertical cards, the horizontal cards, and the charts. Let's start this. So in the dashboard.jsx, here I will remove this div. Instead of this, I will make a container as I am doing in every file, and here I will make a comment of left side and the right side. On the left side, I am going to have the dashboard cards. So let's say here I am saying cards, and I will also have the chart on the left side. And then on the right side, for now I am just saying it as the orders vertical card, and let's say it as an order, because if I go to the developed version, here you can see on the left side I have this card and the chart, while on the right side I have this vertical orders card. Cool. So let's start by this left side. Here I will make a div with the name of dashboard head. Inside the dashboard head, let's make a head which is going to contain a span saying dashboard. Okay, now if we look at developed version, we also have a select box for the duration. So for that one, again I am making another div with the name of duration button. Inside this I am making a select element So select, and I'm giving it a heading of last 1 month, let's say. By the way, this select is of course having some options, and just remove this 1 month. So options multiply by 3, and for the first option I am giving a value of 1 week, then 1 month, and finally 1 year data. And finally after this we will have some cards. So div.css.cards, here say this as cards, save this and see the results. This is our okay. So we have this heading, we have this select box, and a div for this card. Of course we have to style all of these things. So on here I am going to open the module css for the dashboard, target the container, and container is having a width of 100% with the maximum width of 130 rem, which is a good width on a wide screens, with the padding of 0 rem and 4 rem. This will flex with the gap of 2 rem between the elements. Save this and see here. Yeah, and actually the where is orders? Okay, this is the orders. So yeah, here you can see this dashboard is now aligned on the left side while the orders on the right side. So we should continue fixing this. I am targeting the dashboard specifically, giving it a width of 70% of total screen with the display flex direction of column, and a gap of 1 rem between the heading and the cards. So yeah, order is now in place and dashboard is having 70%. After this, the dashboard head is going to have display flex again, flex direction of column, and for more I am after this I will target specifically only the head inside the dashboard head. So for the head I will make display flex, align items center, justify content, space between, so that the select box will be on the most left position of the head. Save this and see the results. Yeah, here we have the actually we are having cards within this direction of row. Let's format the code and see what happened. Okay, actually these cards should be outside of the dashboard head. Put it here and remove these extra spaces. Save this. Now everything is fine. In the css I am saying the head is having its nth child 1, which is the heading of dashboard, giving it a font size of 1.5 rem and a font weight of 500. And then there is a select box, so the duration button is having a select box. For that one, make the borders as none. The background color should be our variable color, which is I am saying it as orange gradient. Yeah, it is giving me an auto suggestion, which is a nice feature, with a padding of 10 pixels, font weight of 500. This is very obvious styling, so I am not going in detail about the css too much. 10 pixels, and the font size is remaining, so font size should be 0.8 rem. Save this and see here. Yeah, it is styled correctly. The only thing is missing is the background color of this head, because if we have a look at the developed version, it is having a transparent black, which is missing here. So let's apply that black color. In the dashboard head, what I am going to say, I will enclose it inside the backticks, then the braces, give it as a variable, and add our default class of theme container. If I go to my index.css here you can see I have made a class of theme container, which is having this background with the 0.59 opacity, border radius of 20 pixel, and padding to rem. Why I did so? Because we are going to use this type of container many times. If we have a look here, you can see for these orders, for the charts, for this, we are using it everywhere. Therefore I made it in the index.css, and every time I need it I will call it via this syntax. Okay, let's save this and see here. Here you can see now it is having a transparent black container. It's time to actually render these cards now. For the card data, I am going to my data folder. Okay, the data folder comes with the starter pack, so you have to visit this index.js file, and if you have a look here, I have an array of card data. So inside the cards data, basically I have some objects, and each object is representing details about an individual card. Let's say if I have a look at the pre-built version, here the first card is the revenue, and it is having details like its title, amount, and the change. So I have reflected these details here in the array: title, change, and amount. Similarly, the second card is for the orders, expenses, and profit. So now I am going to use this array inside my basically dashboard. So where is my dashboard? Yeah, here. Instead of writing just simply cards, now I will iterate through that cards data array. So here I am writing cards data. It is giving me an auto import suggestion. So yes, I am accepting it, and then map through this against each card with its index number. I will return some GSX. So what is this GSX? In this I am making a div with the class name of card, and each card will have its head. So card head, yes. So the first thing inside the card head is going to be the title of card. So for this I am giving it a class name of title, or if I give nothing, then it should be fine, okay, because I can directly call it. So inside the curly braces here I will say card dot title, just copy and paste the span, and second thing is the change. So I'm making here the positive sign. You can make it dynamic according to the response from the server, or which thing or anything you are going to integrate it in the backend. This tutorial is purely for the UI purposes, but of course we are persisting the states here with via the global states manager. We will see how we are doing this. The second thing after the card head is going to be the card amount. So css dot card amount, and inside the card amount I'm making a span of just a dollar sign, and then in the second span inside the curly braces I am saying group number. Again it is saying me that you can import the group number function from the data index. Yes, I am importing it there. Now first of all, let's see what is this group number. Again, if I visit the index.js in my data, yeah, here it is taking a single number as a parameter. After taking the parameter, it is changing it to a fixed decimal points of 2. Let's say I have 1.123, so it will change it to only 1.12. Then I am converting it to a floating number just for the just for assuring the correct results, and then I am applying the method of toLocalString, which will apply comma in our numbers, and we call it as an English format with the use grouping true. Then I am calling this group number function here inside the card amount, because if I see at the pre-built version here, you can see these numbers are using the commas, and where the decimal points are necessary, it is limiting it to only 2 decimals. Okay, if I save this here, just see is the group number imported or not. Yeah, it's imported here, so it should give us correct results. Here we are. We have the correct amount, we have the title and the change. It's time to style these cards. For styling, again I will go to the modular CSS. Here make the font bigger, and then the most parent cards container, make it as display flex with the justify content of space between. Let's see, yeah, they all are aligned horizontally, and then I have to target each individual card with the display flex direction of column, and the gap between them is the 1 rem. Save this, and then I am targeting the card head. So for the card head, make the font size of 1 rem. Then to target the title, I will say the card head is containing its first child as the title. So for that title, give it a specific color. You can just copy and paste this color from this video like this. Let's see the results now. Okay, here our cards are having the title in a correct format as required in the pre-built. Now we have to target the second span, which is the change in the amount. So card head is containing a second child, and for that child, first of all, make the margin left of 1.5 rem and then give it a font size of 0.8 rem to make it relatively smaller with the color of our variable green like this. Let's save, and yeah, it's time to target the exact amount. For the amount, here I am saying the card amount is having the second child because you can see here in the card amount the first span is just representing the dollar sign while the second span is the amount. So for that I am giving a font size of 1.5 rem with the font weight of bold and margin left of 8 pixels. Yeah, here are the results. Now we have to change this dollar position because in the pre-built version here you can see it is a little faded up and having some margin from the bottom. So to achieve this I am just copying this, pasting it here and saying the first child now of our card amount, and for this make the font size of 0.9 rem with the color. Again you can just copy and paste this color. Actually these are the variants of white color, nothing so much special in making them, and giving a position of relative with the bottom margin of 5 pixels. So now the results are exactly same according to the pre-built version. We can move on towards our chart now. But before moving towards the chart, here I am having some disturbance in upper distance between the top bar and this card because in the pre-built version it is having relatively large distance than this one. So let's figure it out why it's happening. First of all, I will go to the layout.jsx. Okay, so here I have the content class, and here in the layout, yeah, inside the layout css here I can specify the content. So for the content I am giving it a margin of auto first of all, and then display flex with the height of 100%, then giving the line item center and margin top of -4 rem. Let's save this and see. Okay, it's too much distance, so what I can do, I will say inside the content here I have a div, make the width 100% and the minimum height should be 75 vh. For now it is looking strange, and why it is looking strange, because we have nothing except this single dashboard card. When we will have the statistic charts, then it will align itself automatically and it will not like this. So for now what I am doing, I will delete this property of align item centers, and okay, instead of -4 rem, just for now I am giving it a 4 rem margin top. Yeah, it's almost equal to the built version, and here I also want to give comment, uncomment the align item center and make margin top of -4 rem. So when we will generate the statistics charts, then we will uncomment this align item center and we will change the margin top to -4 rem. Let's save this and move towards our chart element. For the statistic component, I am going to dashboard.jsx, and here within this div, which is basically our dashboard container, here inside this I am going to make another component with the name of statistics. So statistics. Of course it will raise an error because we have not made any component like statistics. So inside the components, here I am making a new folder with the name statistics. Within this I am making a new file statistics.jsx, and yes, of course, the css one. So let's make this, open them side by side. This inside the JSX I am saying react fat arrow function, something like this. Now if I save it here and inside the JS dashboard.jsx, again I am pressing Ctrl plus space and it is giving me auto suggestion to auto import this. Let's see the results. Okay, here it is saying the statistics means the component is imported successfully. Go back to code again, and inside the statistics.jsx, let's make our container first, and within the container I am making a span with the class name of title, and for the title I am saying overview. Okay, let's make it small, overview statistics. Let's save this. By the way, if I have a look at a pre-built version, yeah, here I am targeting this card and this heading of statistics, and here it is having an error. Let's see what's the error. Okay, the css is not defined. Of course the css is not defined because we have not imported the css. Yes, so import css. Yeah, let's save this and error should be gone now. Yeah, and our heading is also rendered. Let's make the cards. So cards like this. By the way, have a look here. I am targeting these cards. These are the 4 cards, the first one, the second one, third and fourth card. So for making these cards, let's make the very first one. So I am making a div. Within this div I am making another div with the class name of arrow icon to make an upward arrow. For this I am auto importing bs arrow up short, and it is not auto importing, we have to do it manually. So here write import this icon from react icons and bs directory. Yes, after this let's make a card now. So css dot card, here I am making 2 spans. The first span is top item this month, and the second is office, let's say office comms. So format the code, let's save and see. Yeah, here the arrow icon is also imported, but it's too much small. Let's do some styling now. First of all, for this parent container I want to enclose it inside the backticks, and then here make it a JavaScript. Here I am including the theme container again to give it a transparent black color. Yeah, it is having now transparent black color, and also I am enclosing it inside the backticks, and here I will give it another class with the name of gray container. Save this. Yeah, here you see this container which is having only top and bottom border and a kind of glossy look. This is imported from our index.css. If I go to my index.css here, and let's say where is here, here is the gray container. Here I said the border top should be 0.3 pixels with this color, similarly the bottom with the same color, and the background of a kind of linear gradient with this padding. Because I have to use this kind of gradient here in the orders, so therefore I have made it as a global class name so it can be accessed anywhere. Now after this card, okay, actually this one is closing here. Yeah, so then I will target the second card. Again there should be only 2 spans, and in the first span I am saying profit, and in the second one I will call the group number function It is auto imported here, and I am writing, let's say, this any random value, format the code, and I'm having some problem while formatting, but that's okay. Similarly, I have to make the third card. For the third card, I will say daily average, and instead of this number, only the 2000 this time. And let's make an other card, so just copy and paste this here. Here I will say the items and 445, 455. Okay, let's save this and see here. Yeah, the data is successfully rendered. Let's go to the statistics.module. Here I am targeting the container first, making it as display flex with the flex direction of column. Text should be bigger. Yeah. And then a gap of 1 rem, height 100%, and a justify content center, very basic styling. After this I will target the title, so title, giving it a font size of 1.2 rem and a font weight of 500. Then I am targeting the cards parent container, and for this one, yeah, flex and justify content space between with the flex wrap of wrap. After this, I am targeting the first child inside the cards container. And what is the first child? First child is basically going to be this card, which is enclosed in a type of special div because it is containing an icon also. You notice the other cards are not going to contain any kind of icon, therefore they are not enclosed any parent div. But here it has to render this icon, therefore I am enclosing it in a separate div. For this one, I am saying it as align item center with the display flex and a gap of 0.8 rem. Let's save this and see here. Yeah, here it is. Okay, there is a problem because of the line item center and we are not having charts. So just if I where it is, if I just comment this out. Okay, for now I am not making justify content center because I am not having anything other than this cards row. On next, I am going to target the individual card. So for each card, make the display flex with the flex direction of column, and the color means the font color is going to be a variable which is having the name of gray. After this, I am giving a gap of 0.5 rem. Let's save this. Now I am going to target the first child within our card. So yeah, for the first child I am giving a font size of 0.8 rem because it is the heading of our card. Then here right card is having a second child also. So for that I am writing font size of 1.1 rem with the font weight of 500. Save and see. So here are our results. It is containing a color of gray or kind of faded color because in a developed version here you can see the all text in this div is a kind of faded text. So here are the results, quite similar. Then I'm going to target the SVG of arrow. So I will say the arrow icon is having an SVG. For that one, make width of 2 rem, height of 2 rem. Let's save and see. Okay, now the only thing is meaning to give a background to this SVG. So for that, here I am saying the arrow icon container should have a width of 2 rem and a height of 2 rem with the background. So background is already defined in the index CSS. So just write here orange color and then make a border radius. So border radius is 5 pixels for this one. And yes, this is the output that we want. Have a look at build version. Okay, the difference is the color of this SVG. So here I will say color as black, And yeah, now it is exactly same as we have our built version. For making the chart, here I will go to the bottom of our file, and after this div, after this cars div, I am just minimizing this. Here I will make a component with the name of statistics chart. Okay, let's go to the components folder. Here I am making a new folder with the name of statistics chart, and inside this I am making a new file, statistics chart.gsx, and the other one is for the css. Basically we don't need any type of special css because everything will come out of the library. But let's say, okay, here in the gsx I'll say RAFCE for the React fat arrow function, and here I have to import some component from eCharts. So I will say import from eCharts for React, and the name of the component is React eCharts. Okay, now the second is the whole library of eCharts. So I will say all the things from the eChart and import them as eChart. Okay, now here you can see it's really a big package of 1 MB, but we have to use it, and I can safely close all the files on the left side so we can focus only on the chart. Now here, instead of rendering this dummy div, here I will say render the React eCharts. It is a self-closing component, and we have to pass some option which is basically going to be our styling and data for the complete eChart. Format the code, and then here I'll make an object of option. So const option is equal to, the first thing is going to be our x-axis in the chart. So x-axis is having the type category, sorry, this is not a package, this should be a string with this type. By the way, you can learn about all these parameters on the official website. I will tell you how you can do this, but first let's make the boundary gap as false. And on the x-axis I am having just some days name like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as you remember. Okay, there is an error, Saturday. Okay, the AI error. Yeah, as you see on the developed version, if I visit here, days name in a week on the x-axis. So similar stuff I did here on the x-axis. I have this data. Now this time, this is the time for the y-axis. So on the y-axis I am making the type as value. The split line, okay, the split line should be show equal to false, and that's it for the y-axis. Now it's time to provide the data for our chart. So for this, here I am passing the series option, and first of all make the type of our chart as line, and the curve of the line should be smooth, so it should not be the straight line chart. And then I have to give data here. So for data I am just putting some random values like these values. Let's save this, and okay, if I go to statistics, here you can see I have imported it from the relative folder. I did it just by pressing Ctrl plus space. It gives me a suggestion and it is auto imported. So yeah, don't miss that step to import the statistic chart in the statistics JSX. Let's see what are the results. Okay, so here we have a chart with this blue line because we have not made any type of styling yet. If I visit the official website of eCharts and click on the examples, here you can see a lot of examples for these curve charts and straight charts, and you can read about any option in their docs like chart configuration. I really like their document and I would recommend to you to have a look on this documentation to learn interesting patterns and to draw interesting charts according to your custom requirements. Let's continue to customize our chart now. Okay, so my next target should be inside the series, just below this smooth. I am saying the line style. So for the line style, first make the comma clear here. I am giving a color to the line of our chart, and for this one I will say the graphic library is providing us the linear gradient class, and by this 001 we can actually define the direction of gradient that is going to be drawn, and here we can pass the shades, or you can just say the direction of light coming up. So I am saying offset as 0, and the color is this one. You can just pick up from the video like this. And then the second one is again the offset is 1 with the color of something like this. Let's save and see our chart now. Okay, here you can see our line is now having a gradient which is exactly same as in the developed version, but of course the width of line is not same. So to fix the width of line, what I can do here, inside the styling I will say width should be 4 pixels, and yeah, now it's clear. I also want to disable these symbols of data points. So to disable these symbols, I can do a very simple thing. Uh, After this line style, here I will say show symbol, and of course make it false. Now if I see the chart, the symbols are gone for the data points. This is the time to style the area of our chart. Again, the area is just containing the gradients, but how you can apply these gradients we will see now. After this line style, I should make a text bigger. Here I will say the area style, and for the area style I am giving it an opacity of 0.5, and then again the color are going to be from each art's graphic gradient, and this time I am just saying as 0.8 for the last parameter. Enclose the bracket, and then inside the array I can pass some more custom values. So the offset is going to be the 0 with the color of like this, and then similarly just copy this and make the second one with the offset of 1, and the color should be like this. Here I have to put a comma. Now if I save this and see my chart, okay, let's refresh the page. Still the area style is not applied. So there was the problem that I missed a comma here. So if I put a comma here, now let's see the chart, and yeah, the gradient is applied successfully and it is looking same as here it is. Okay, the next thing is to make this button of downloading the chart, as we can do here in the build version. We can download the chart. So similar stuff we have to do here. We can do it very easily. The only thing we have to do, on the very top I am giving a new option of toolbox. In the toolbox you can provide many type of options. You can learn about them on the official website, but for this tutorial we need only one feature, and the feature name is save as image, and yeah, you can specify like this. Now if I save this and have a look, I am having a save as image button here. Now when I click this is my chart. Okay, the next target is to make the tooltip. As you know, in the build version, when I hover, there is a custom tooltip that do a pop-up when I hover any data point, and there is also a orange dot inside this tooltip which is representing the amount or the value of the data point. So for making this, here I will say the tooltip. Okay. And for this tooltip, the trigger for making this visible should be the axis, and then the axis pointer should have a type of cross. Then I am giving a background color of transparent black. So you can just simply copy and paste like this with the border width of 0. If I save this, and yeah, this is our version. This is appearing correctly. We just have to change the color of this dot, and you can change this color by giving another option of color. And for this, here I am using our own variable of orange from the index.css. Yes, you can use them here. Put a comma, save, and yeah, our chart is almost ready as we have here. So similar stuff is going on here. I just have to fix its position now. I can fix the position by providing it grid values with some left, right, bottom, and these options. You can simply copy and paste them, and yeah, now it is having a correct position as we have in a built version. The other thing that I can do, let me see here. Okay, everything is correct. Yeah, I can make in faces as the focused. So here's my data, and let's make emphasis as focus series. Yeah, format the code again, and this is it. Our first area chart is complete now with a smooth curve, and the good thing is the animation is built in with this chart. If I refresh the page, here you can see a very smooth animation. It's time to make the left vertical orders container here. Let's see how we can do this. Again, I am opening the components and here making a new folder with the name orders and a file of orders.jsx and a modular css. So like this, open them side by side. Okay, by the way, from the css I got remember that we have to delete the statistic chart css because we have not used it and we have nothing inside the statistic charts. Yeah, right here it's an empty file, so we can safely delete it like this. And even we have not imported it in the main file, so yes, that was useless. Okay, now inside the orders again RAFCE, here I will make a container. So css dot container, I will make it in the backticks with the curly braces to include our theme container, of course, theme container, and then making the head of our orders. So inside the head I am having the logo of our dashboard, which can be written as logo.png, and for its alt attribute I'm just saying logo, and then I have a span which will say orders today. Okay, the next thing that I have to see is the other class with the name stats. It will basically have this thing. If I go to the built version, yeah, this will contain this amount text and the original amount within this gray container. So to make this a gray container, again inside the backticks I will make the gray container, and then here make two spans. In the first spans amount, and in the second one dollar with some amount. So again I'm calling the group our group number function and giving any random value, something like this. Okay, I should make this, yeah, now it's more readable. Then I have some orders. Okay, for the orders I have the dummy data inside my index.js of data. Here if I go to my index.js, you can see after these cards data I have this orders data. So inside the orders data I have the name of the order, its type, then a number of items, and the change in profit or change in any type of amount you can put there when you have a real database behind this one. So for now I am going to use this array which is containing such kind of objects. Okay, here I will write orders data. Yes, are to import it. It is giving me suggestion. Order again with its index, or you can simply say the ID. I can see here the div with the class name of order, and we should also give it the here css.order. Here we should also give it a key which will make it unique, so React will not raise a warning about this one. The key should be index number, and then I'm making a div inside this with two spans. So the first span is going to be the order name like this, and then the second span should be order change, so order dot change again. Then I am making another div in which I am having two more spans. The first span is going to say the type of our order, and the second span is saying the order item, so order dot items. Okay, and I should also make a heading of items like this. Let's format it. Okay, now I have to import my orders JSX inside my dashboard. Yeah, here you can see we are just saying the orders, so instead of saying it like simply orders, I am saying import the component of orders. Let's see the results. Okay, there is an error should be of the CSS. Yeah, I remember. Inside the JSX I have to import the CSS, so I am saying import CSS from relative orders dot module dot CSS. There should be S, so save and see. Okay, still there is an error. What's the error? Orders data is not defined. Okay, the auto import didn't work at that time, so control plus space, hit enter. Now it is imported. Okay, here we have our vertical orders data. Okay, here I am seeing that the container is made for the orders, but data is not rendering in. So let's see why this is happening. Okay, the problem is very small. Here instead of curly braces I have to write in the small braces like this. Okay, because with the curly braces we have to write the keyword of return. Already says that we are returning some JSX. So now if I say yeah, there is the data. It's time to style all of these things. So here in the modular CSS, make the text bigger, and yeah, like this. I am targeting the container, make its width of 30% with the display flex direction of column and a gap of 2 rem. Then I am saying the head is having the display flex with the line item center, justify content center, and a gap of 1 rem. The heading has an image which is our logo. For that one I am making the width is 2 rem. The second one is stat text. For that one I am making padding of 0.5 rem with the display flex direction of column, and all the items should be in center with having a gap of 1 rem, and color is our variable gray one. Yeah, I am doing it in too much speed, I know, because these all things are very obvious. See the results here. Yeah, there is some problem. See what's exactly happening. Okay, so in the container there is a kind of problem, I think. Okay, I should remove this div, or I can make the width as 100%. Okay, for the container I am going to make the width 100% instead of 30%. Why I did the 30% before? Because at that time I thought that I am not having a div like this one orders, because now I am having already a parent div, so this parent div should contain the width of 30% and the inner div will contain the width of 100%. So everything is looking fine now. Okay, now I am targeting the first child inside the stat, which is the text of amount. For that, making the font size of 0.8 rem, then target the second child. Okay, and for this one make the text size a larger one, so like this, with the font weight of 500 and a color of white. Okay, now for the orders, of course they should be in the column direction, so we have to do this, of course. Then the width of 100%, sorry, again my mistake, it should be 100%. The color of orders should be the variable with the gray color, like this. Then the font size is 0.85 rem. Let's save this and see in the browser. Okay, everything is looking good till yet. Have a look. Okay, yeah, it's fine. Now we can move to each individual order. So for the each individual order, I am saying target its first child and make the margin bottom of 0.8 rem. So why I am doing so? If I have a look here, in each order I am having a kind of head, and in the head I am having the name and the amount changed, and in the second div I have the type of order and the items. So when I am saying first child, I am targeting this div and I am saying that it should have a margin bottom of 0.8 rem. Then what can I do? I'm just simply copying this, pasting it here, and saying there is again the first child of this div, which is name of our order, making the font size of 1 rem. Now I simply copy this, paste this, say the second child, which is the change, make the font size 0.8 rem with the color of our variable green. Okay, so the things are almost in the order. There are some kind of justification bug, so let's see what we can do more here. Okay, so inside the orders I have the order divs. I can say here the order is having the div. For that one, make display flex with the width of 100%, justify content space between, and this color gray and font size should reside here, and I am simply giving a gap of 1.5 rem. Save it. Yeah, now it's exactly looking same as we have in the developed version. The problem is just with the width, so let's see how we can set this width. Again I make 30% here, and in the dashboard delete this thing. Yeah, the width is fixed. Now it's time to make the donut chart, this one. Again we are going to make it with the help of the e-charts. Let's make it quickly. Go to the orders component. Okay, inside the orders component, after this div we can simply minimize it. Here this is the head one, then container, then the order. Okay, here I am making a div with the class name of orders chart, and inside this chart I am making a span. Let's give it a heading split by orders, and inside this one I am making orders by chart. Okay, and here there is another typo, order, just say it as order chart. Okay, I want to keep things simple as much as possible. And inside the orders css, at the very last I am saying for the order chart make the width 100%, and then inside the orders chart take the first child of this one, make the text align center for that one. Okay, let's make this component now, orders pie chart. Okay, so inside the components, making a new folder with the name orders pie chart, and making a file. Okay, now inside this RAFCE, and here again we do not, as we don't need the CSS, we just need to import the React eChart component and eChart library completely as a static. Okay, then we have to return the React eChart component with the options as we did before. So React eCharts with the style, we will this time provide some styling. I am saying the height is 140 pixels with the margin of 1 rem, like this. And then at the very end we have to provide options to this. So option is equal to the options. Now let's define some options for this. Okay, yeah, now it's working correctly. At the top here I am saying const option, and for the option I am declaring some data inside the array, and the data is very simple like this. It is having a value and the name. Let's format the code. Okay, if I save this inside the orders, I am auto importing it, control space, yes. Let's see if there any error. Not no, there is no error, but the chart is also not visible because we have not specified the type of our chart. So what I will do, inside the tags by chart, inside the options, I will make the series, make an array and enclose the data, and enclose the data inside this series like this. Now for this series I have to make an object, make this data inside this object and give it a name of item. Okay, the type of chart should be pie with some radius, the inner radius 60%, the outer radius 80%, like this. Let's save this. Now the chart should be rendered. Let's try the type with the small p. Yeah, the only problem was with the capital and small letters. We should write the type with the small letters. So now the chart is rendering. It's time to style this chart, and it is having our data. Here I will say avoid label overlap false, and then the item style. So item style, there we have to define many things. The border radius should be 50 with the border color of black, and the border width of 5. All these things are self-explanatory, so nothing to explain here. Then I am saying the label should not be shown and the position should be center. Okay, the last thing is the emphasis. So for the emphasis I am saying the label show should be true, and the font size is 20 pixel with the font weight of bold. Okay, here should be a comma again. Let's save this, and yeah, it is rendering very beautifully. It's time to give the different colors to our pie chart. Here on the very top I am making a color property which is an array, and it is an array of different colors, and each color is going to different each part of our pie chart. So yes, accept this auto suggestion and enclose this. Here I am saying the offset, the gradient mechanism is same as we did in the area chart. Here we have to define a specific color like this one, and then the other one is again offset with the value of 1, and the color value of, this is our first color which is closing here, and the color property is closing here. Now I am just simply copying this, pasting it here, I only have to change the colors. So here I will write something like this, and for the second one I will write like this. Move the previous one, again copy this, paste this for the third part of our pie chart. As you know, in the pie chart we have the 4 parts, so I will make the 4 types of color, means the 4 gradients. Okay, and you can just simply copy and paste these colors from the video. Again copy this. You can even make your custom function for doing this job. You don't have to copy and paste again and again if you have a very huge pie chart. So for now we have very simple, and you know the method what I am doing, so therefore I am doing it just manually. Let's save this and see our chart. Yeah, it is having gradient and looking very nice. Next, let's move to the calendar page. For the calendar page inside my code, let's close all of these files and also close all of these, and here inside the src and inside the pages, not the components but inside the pages, yeah, here I am making a new folder with the name of calendar, and in this one I am making a file with the name calendar.gsx and calendar css calendar.module.css. okay, open them side by side, and in the gsx first of all rafce, let's save this. Now I am visiting app.gsx, and here I have to declare the route for this page, so just copy and paste this. Here I will say as calendar, and for its element let's fetch the calendar page. Yes, auto import, so it is auto imported here. Let's save this, and in our application now if I go to this calendar page, here you can see we are rendering an empty page which is just saying calendar, because in the code on the calendar page we only have this div. Okay, now for making this calendar I am using a very famous library, full calendar. If I visit about full calendar io, here you can see they have very proper documentation for React, and this library is meant for the React. Here you have all the working demos, the docs, and it's very interesting to learn. You can use it to make different kind of clones. Even you can make a full stack Google Calendar clone with the help of this full calendar io. Okay, so we are going to use this library for making our own custom calendar. Let's see how we can do this. Let's import all the required packages. So on the very top I will say import full calendar from at the rate full calendar and then the React. Okay, then on the second I have to import some extensions, or you can say the plugins. So yes, import the day grid. After that import the interaction plugin. Yes, I am doing all of these things by the auto import, and then import time grid plugin. So import time grid plugin from the full calendar io. Yeah, like this. Okay, and instead of using the modular css this time, I am going to use the simple css, because full calendar io is having its pre-built css, and to customize that we can't use our unique class names. We have to use their class names for customize them. So I am renaming it to the simple css. Yes, calendar.css, close it from here, and importing it like import from the relative folder calendar.css. Next, let's render this calendar. So on the return, here instead of this I am making a div with the name of calendar container. Inside this again I am making another div which will render the full calendar. Sorry, what's the problem here? Yeah, full calendar, it's a self-closing component, and now we have to pass a lot of parameters here. First of all, the plugins that we want to integrate with this. So the first plugin is day grid plugin, interaction plugin, and also the time grid plugin at the top of the file. So here we are using these plugins. The next thing that I have to declare is the header toolbar. So for the header toolbar, I am saying on the left it should have three buttons. The three buttons are the previous, next, and today. Then in the center I am rendering the title of my calendar. At the last, on the right side in the header toolbar, I want to display the buttons for these three plugins. Okay, let's format the code. And after this header toolbar, I am saying all day slot should be false. Otherwise, there will be a slot that will give you a notification of all the slots on the very left side. And initial view of our calendar, what it should be. So initial view should be time grid week, means the weekly view of the calendar should be the initial view. As you know, we can switch between three views: day grid, month, time grid week, and time grid day. So I want the initial view should be time grid week. And then the slot duration means what should be the block size, and I'm saying the 1 hour should be the block size, because by default the block size is of 30 minutes. That is too much complex and too much messy to see. Therefore I'm just keeping it on the 1 hour. By the way, you can customize it as much as you want. The edit table should be true. We don't want to make it only read only. And then selectable, yeah, of course that should be true. Select mirror, yeah, that's one true. With the day max events, a day max events, I think we should make it true also. Yeah, the weekends should be rendered here true. We can make the weekends turn on and turned off. Then the now indicator will make a line of the current time in the calendar, like a red indicator in your calendar, which will tell you that what is the current time. Then I'm saying it should have the initial events. You can make these initial events from a proper data store, like a database, a proper backend service. But for the sake of this tutorial, I am just doing some kind of global state management. We will see how we are doing this, but let's see if it is rendering properly or not. So if I save this and see the results, okay, this is our pre-built. Okay, so this is the result. On the top we have the three buttons of the previous, next, and today, and on the left we have the week, day, and monthly views. There are some issues with the styling. Yes, we have to fix these issues. So for correcting these issues, here in the CSS I am saying the calendar container is containing a div, and for that one make the margin as auto with the width of 90% of total available, with the padding of 0 rem and 5 rem, and a max width should be 1100. Okay, so this is the extreme width that it can attain. Now if I save this and see, okay, I think there is some issue with the position of this calendar, because in the pre-built version and here the positions are not same, and this is because of, I believe, our content container, where we have to change, okay, not the content that was in the layout, I believe. Okay, layout CSS, here we had to, yeah. Now if I uncomment this one and make a proper -4 rem margin top, save this, yeah, now the position is same of the both the calendars, and here it is also rendering very properly. Okay, this is the pre-built, yeah, both are same, and the calendar page is also rendering exactly how it should work. So now we have to make this calendar a kind of controllable component. So to make it controllable component, I have to render some initial events, then I have to change the storage for all of these things. I'm going to make a calendar store which will hold the global storage for the calendar events. So I am going to the src, and here inside the components folder, let's minimize all the folders. Inside the src I have the stores. Here I am making a new file, not the folder, with the name of calendar.js. Now for the global state management, I am going to use the Zustand, which is a kind of very smart and short tool for your state management. I know there are other tools available like the Redux and the use context, but why I find it more easier because the syntax and the way of integrating this global store management tool is way easier than other ones. So let's see how we can do. First of all, we have to make a store imported from the stand, and then I am importing the initial events. Okay, so initial events, yes, it is giving me auto suggestion from my data. Let's see what are the initial events. If I visit the data.js, and here are the initial events. So in the initial events, I have an array. Each array is containing some objects. So each object is reflecting a type of event. First, we have to give a unique ID to each event. So for that one, I am using my custom function of create event ID. And if I go to its definition here, what it's basically doing, it is having a global variable of event guide. And okay, let's see, where is the event guide? Yeah, here is the event guide. It is having a counter type value 0, and then each time we call the function of create event, it increments the counter, and as a result we get a unique ID. So these are the some dummy data. Lunch party with the start time, then I have the timed event. It is also having a start time. I am also using the movement library to format the time in a proper format. So it's a very obvious thing, not too much complex to understand. I am importing all of these initial events then here, and to make a proper store out of it, I am saying use calendar create, then set. Okay, create events should be initial events. Okay, and then not the create events sorry, they should be current events. Okay, so current events, and then set current events. Yeah, exactly this what we want. And export default use calendar. So here what is going on, we are having by default a global state of current events, which is having this value of initial events, and when we want to change these events, we can call this function of set current events in any of our component within this app. So let's save this inside the calendar.jsx here. Instead of rendering this empty array, now here I will say current events. Of course, I have to fetch these current events from my global store. So on the very top, we can use the hook provided by the Zustand store. I can write it as extract out the current events from use calendar that we have just made. Here it is having some kind of issue with the auto importing. So I can do a manual import like import use calendar from go outside, then outside, then there is a store folder, and use the calendar store. Let's save this and see what happens here. Okay, there is an issue that cannot resolve import from the file does exist. Okay, so in the store I have the calendar. Yeah, so now my events are rendering in the calendar. Of course, they are not having a proper CSS, so styling is not good. Now let's focus on the styling of these events. After making a proper style, we will focus on the interaction with these events. So here in the calendar.css, next I will target the FC event class of full calendar, and I am giving it a background color. I am using my own orange gradient, making it as important. making it as important. Okay, let's save and see. Now my events are having a gradient orange color. I should also make the height of the event slot bigger. So time grid slot dot should be put here to represent a class, and I'm giving a height of 2.5 rem, making it as important. Every time I write important because I have to make it sure that our CSS overrides the default CSS. Now you can see. Also, what can I do more if I refresh? Yeah, now it's having more proper view in front of us. The next thing I would like to do is to give a gray color to borders, not too much white. So border should be 1 pixel solid or variable gray. Again, make it important like this. Let's save. Okay, this is our version and here is a pre-built version. Yeah, they are exactly same. Next thing that we want here to add the interaction with this calendar view, means I want when I click any box here, then a kind of input prompt should appear which should ask me the name of meeting or the event I am organizing, and then that event should be added in our calendar. So how we can do this? Let's get back to the code and I can close all the CSS files. We just have to focus on the logic now. So after setting the initial events, here I will say event set, and for the event set I will call a function with the name of handle events. This function will be called whenever you initialize, add, change or remove event, then our event sets will be handled by this event set parameter. So it expects a kind of function which will handle our controlled input. So let's make this handle event function. Okay, here I will paste the name, and then this function is a kind of async function. Okay, and then here I will say await promise dot resolve. I have to import the set current events from the global state. So set current events like this, then set current events, and then events will be passed as parameter. Yeah, so this is our function. Let's see if there any error. No, there is no error after making this function. Next thing is to add interaction on clicking any interval. So for that one I will say select. Select is a parameter that will be called when you click on interval, means on a box. Handle date select. Okay, now let's make this function, and it is a kind of interesting function. The selected info will be passed as parameters. So select info. Next, let's make the title of our prompt. So title is prompt. Please enter title for the event. Yeah, that's correct. Then a calendar API will be returned from the select info. So select info dot view dot calendar. Then I will say calendar API dot unselect. Then if title is there, means it's not an empty title, then add the event. So calendar API dot add event. The ID should be create event ID. Let's do an auto import for the create event ID, control plus space. Yeah, it is auto imported. Then I will pass the title of event, the start time. So start time select info dot start, and the other thing is end time. So select info dot end, and if it is an all day, so select info dot all day. These are the parameters to add a new event, and the add event function is provided by the calendar IO itself. Okay, so this is, yeah, so all the things have been done. Let's save this and see in our browser the results. I refresh once again, and here it is asking me for the title. I am saying new meeting press OK. Yeah, our meeting is added now. How cool is this? Now I can even move this to other places, and if I navigate between different pages, here you can see the state is persisted because of our global state manager Zustand. Next, I want when I click on any event, then the event should be deleted. So for that, I am writing another parameter event click. So on clicking an event, call the handle event click function. Okay, let's make this function on the top of our file. Let's minimize this, and here I am saying const handle event click. It will have the click info, and for that when I am saying if confirmation is provided by the user, are you sure you want to delete this event, then in that case do one thing, click info dot event dot remove. Very simple code. All the functions are provided by default from the full calendar. So let's save this and see. If I click on this event, it is saying are you sure you want to delete this event? Okay, and still I can make an other event. I can move this. Yeah, so our delete functionality is also working fine. And in the day view, yeah, here it's also working. And in the month view, you can even add a list view. That is also a plugin from the full calendar IO. You can also add that one. So our calendar page is now ready to use. The purpose behind making this page, because calendar is used in many dashboard applications nowadays, and by following this tutorial now you have an idea how you can make the front end, and even you have an idea how to connect your backend with this full calendar service. So that's it from this tutorial. Now we have to move on the Trello board. Let's close this calendar JSX and calendar JS, and here inside my app.jsx I am going to make an other route. This time I will say it as the board, and then inside the pages here I am going to make one more folder with the name of board. Inside this make a board.jsx and just the css, so board dot, but this time also I would like to use simple css instead of modular. I will give you the reason. The reason is pretty much same, rafce. Let's save this, and inside the app.jsx instead of calendar here this time say as board, auto import it. Let's save. Okay, now have a look. If I click here on the Trello board, yeah, this is rendering correctly. There is my Trello board. Again, due to the positioning reason, I am going to my layout module, the css, and here at the very bottom, for just for now I am commenting out this, and also I am making it as 4rem, because for now our board page is not having so much content, so it is looking too much out of order to see. So let's see now. Yeah, now the board is having the top position, so we can have a development version, and when we finalize the page then again we can make it as align item center with some margin. Okay, now inside the board.jsx we have to import some modules. So I am going to import a component of board and then some functions, and the functions are move card, move column, and remove card, and then the add card, from where I have to import them from the React Kanban library. Okay, the next thing is I have to import the CSS written for this package like this. Now I have to make my global store. Okay, so inside the store here I'm making a file with the name of, let's say, board.js, and inside this store again I will follow the same pattern, import create from Zustand and import board data. from the data. Okay, now what I am importing here when I am saying board data, first of all let's have a look at a pre-built version. Okay, there is also an error, but we will see what this is. First of all, here in the pre-built version you can see I have 4 columns: the backlog, to do, doing and completed. Now go to the data and index.js of data, minimize these cars data, and orders data I am also minimizing it. Then I am also minimizing initial events. Here is the board data. So if I give it a proper format like this one, so basically here I am having 4 columns array. You can see here this is an object which is saying it has some columns and it has 4 columns. So first column, second one, third one, fourth one, as we have in the built version. Now each column has some cards in it. So let's say for the first column, backlog is having some initial data, and the initial data is 2 cards. First one is database setup and second one is data flow. Similar here, database setup and data flow, and then each card has its description. The similar pattern is followed by other columns, like for the to do column and then doing, and the fourth one is completed column. So this is a type of initial dummy data by which I have to initialize my board. You can make your own cards, you can complete your backend with the type of backend service. By the way, if you want to have a proper backend for this complete project, let me know in the comments so we can work out more on this project, and we will try to connect a proper backend, maybe MongoDB or Firebase, with this project to make it more useful. Okay, now inside the board.js means my global store, make use board is equal to create set, and then inside the braces I am saying board is equal to board data, and set board is equal to board passed as the parameter. Then for its state, just simply make board as board. Okay, let's save this and export default use board. I have to import the board data and set board inside my board.jsx, and there is an error, the board is already defined. So what can I do here? Instead of simply saying board, I will say it as board page. Board page, save this, and inside the app.jsx, here let's make it board page, and here also board page. Let's see if the error has gone or not. Yeah, error has been gone. Go to the board, and here instead of this, now write a div with the class name of board container, and here I am making a span first. Inside span, make a heading of Trello board, and then I will use the board component, and inside this I have to render the data from my board global state. So to import that data, here I will say import board and set board also. So set board from use board auto imported. Okay, and here I am saying board. Okay, just save this and see the results in the browser. Here I have this basic board where I can move the columns, but they are not actually moving, because here this is to do, and if I move this here, it automatically change itself to the previous state, because our component is a type of controlled component. It is having its state from this board global state, and we are not attempting any kind of set board function. We are just rendering it, therefore it is unable to move any card or do anything. By the way, the card data is also rendering, but everything is in the white text, therefore we are unable to see. But if I try to select, then you can see everything is in these cards. So first let's do some basic styling, so at least we should be able to see the text inside the board. So I am opening board.css and also open this side by side. Here for the board container, make display flex with the flex direction of column, gap of 1 rem and a padding of 1 rem. And of course we have to import this css for using this, so import from the relative folder board.css. let's save this and see. Okay, I have to check whether the display flex is aligned or not. Okay, it is applied on the board container. Then after this I will say inside the board container I have its first child. What is its first child? This is the heading, so for that one make font size of 1.5 rem with the text aligned center and the font weight of bold. Let's save this. Yeah, the heading is now in a good shape. Next I will target the font color inside the board, so here write React Kanban board, and for now I am making the color as black so it will be visible on the whiteboard. Yes, here you can see it is reflecting our state data. So first we will focus on the logic and then we will continue to do more styles in this board. Okay, so here this board component can accept some parameters. First of all, allow add column and then allow rename column, then allow remove card, and on card drag end we have to make the function to handle the dragging of cards. So for that I will make the handle card move function. Then similarly I have to make a function for handling the column movements, so I will say on column drag and handle column move. Yeah, let's make the function of first of all handle column move, so copy this name and paste it here. Yes, handle column move function will accept the three parameters. The first one will be the card, the second will be the source of the column, and then the last one is the destination of the column. Then we can use the built-in function of this library, which is the move card, so that function will return us an updated board. Move, not the move card but the move column, and here I can give my board the source will be equal to source and destination will be equal to destination. Yeah, and then after doing this I can simply say set board equal to the updated board. Let's save this. Now I should be able to drag the columns. So there is a problem. Let's see what's the problem here. It is saying handle card move is not defined. Yeah, of course. So for now just comment this out. Let's see now if I try to change the column position, that's working fine. So how easy that was to make this kind of functionality with the help of React Kanban library. Similarly, now I will focus on the handle card move function. This is very similar to the handle column move. So const handle card move, again it will have the three parameters. I will say const updated board is equal to move card, then again I am giving the board, source and destination as the three parameters. After doing this, set board equal to the updated board, format the code. Let's save this and try to move the cards now. Yes, now I can also move the cards between the different columns. So overall the dragging of columns and the dragging of cards is done now. The basic logic is completed. Let's move to the styling part now. So here in this styling I will change the color of the font to our variable of gray like this one. Then let's target the React Kanban board is having the first child. For that first child make the width as 100% and then inside this first child we have an other div. For that one, make the width as 24%. Basically the overall width of board is going to be the 100%, and then each column is going to take the 24% width. Because we have the 4 columns, so 24 makes much sense. Each column will have an equal width. Then React Kanban column is having a background color. This background is going to be our transparent black, which we have used many times on the dashboard screen, and the border radius of 8 pixels. After that, I'm going to target some classes to make the manual adjustment on the screen sizes. So here for this div, I am going to make it as width 100%. Let's save this. Now let's see the results. Okay, here are the results. Because still yet we have not configured the React card styling, therefore this is not looking good, but overall the width of columns and the background of columns are looking exactly what we want. It's time to make the custom card. So this board can accept a parameter of making our custom card by having a render card parameter passed, and for that one it will have some props. For those props, of course, it is having the data of the card. Here we can make a div, and for this div I am giving it a class name of Kanban card. Then I am making another div inside which I will render the heading of our card. So we can get the heading from the props dot title. By the way, what are these props actually? The props are going to be the properties of the card we are declaring here inside the board data. As you know, if I go to my board, sorry, not the board but the data file, and if I go to the board data, this card is going to be the props of render card. Okay, so each time we pass the props means we are passing this object which is going to contain the ID of the card, title and description. And this is not the hard and fast rule to pass only these properties. You can make anything you want. Like, just think about the possibilities. You can make the tags, you can make the mentions of the user, anything you want, like you have actual implementation in the actual Trello board. So yes, after this, if we have a look at a developed version, here on the card we have a cross icon for deleting the card. Then we have the title and the description. So after the title, I will focus on the button to delete the card. So simply make a button here, and within this button I will render the RX cross 2 from the React icons library, giving it a color of white and a size of 15 pixels. Okay, I should make this like this. Let's import this not automatically, we have to make it custom. So RX cross true from React icons and then RX directory. Yes. Okay, now if I save this and see the results, yeah, here we have the title and here we have a cross button. Then of course we have not declared any type of styling, therefore it is looking too much weird, but don't worry, we are going to fix all these things. Let's also give a class name to this button. So I am saying remove button, and the type is going to be the button. Now after this head div, a kind of head div, here I'll have a span. Inside this span, yes, you predicted right, we just have to render the description. Let's save this, format the code, remove these extra spaces like this, and see, yeah, now we also having the description of our cards. So we can simply move to the styling part now. In the styling, here, yeah, here I am going to target the Kanban card, make the width 100% with the display flex direction of column. Background color is going to be our variable, which is transparent black, and then the padding of 1 rem, gap of 1.5 rem with the margin top of 1.2 rem and a border radius of 5 pixels. Let's save this. Yeah, they are in shape, not exactly in shape, but at least they are in shape. And then I am saying inside the Kanban card I have its nth child, first child. So for that one, make the width 100% with the display flex, justify content space between. Okay, and for by the way, the first child is the header. So for the header I made the cross button on the left side and the title on the right side. Then the remove button, for that one make the background as none, border as none, and the cursor as pointer. Let's save this and see. Yeah, we are having the cards in the proper shape. They are not having any kind of color right now. So to make the colors according to their different columns, what can I do? I can make a separate function for doing this job. Here in the code, after this I can say in the style, and style is get gradient and pass the props, the whole props. Okay, so I have to make this function now. On the very top, let's minimize this function and this function, and here write the name, accept the props, and instead of props we can simply say it as card, because eventually we are getting the cards. So we have to get the column first. So get column from the card. Okay, because we are giving the colors to different cards, mean in the backlog whenever any card is in the backlog column, it is getting the purple color. Anything inside the to do column is getting the blue color. They are getting color on the basis of their columns. So of course we have to make a logic by which we can have an idea about its column from its data. Therefore we need this custom function of get column. Let's make this. Get column is again going to have card as parameter, and here I will say the const column is going to be the board dot columns dot filter. For each column, make the column return if its cards includes the required card. So this is the logic. Okay, and of course this is going to return us an array, so we will need only one column. So what is this exactly doing? Let's revise this. From the boards I am getting all the columns first, and then I am applying filter on each column. It will return us the column whose cards include our card. Okay, and as we know that filter always returns an array. So in the array our required column is at the 0 index, so this will eventually return us the required column. And here in the get gradient I am getting that required one. Now I will say the title is going to be the column dot title, and then I am applying a lot of if else here. You can also apply the switch, but I am doing this. So what I am doing here, this is not a lot of code, this is just a redundant code. So I am saying if the title is to do, then return this background color. However, if the title is doing, then return this background color. If completed, then this, otherwise for the backlog this. You can apply switch statement, of course I am repeating again. So let's save this. Here we are calling this. Now if I have a look at the results, yeah, now you can see when I move the card the color is changing and we are getting color for different columns. We can even move the column, refresh the page. This is the default state, looking very cool. On next we are going to build the functionality of deleting a card from a specific column by clicking on this cross button. Let's see how we can do this. So Here in the code, yeah, here we are having this button of remove button class name. I will say on clicking this button, here we can make the const updated board. Again, I am going to use a built-in function of React card from the React Kanban, and it accepts the parameter of the original board, and then I have to give it a column from which we are removing the card. So again, I can use the get column function again, and I am giving the props means the card as its parameter, and then we have to give it the card. Okay, so on returning this updated board, I can simply say set board as updated board. Let's format the code so it should become more readable. So that was too much easy as we did the move card and move column, so similarly we did the remove card. Let's save this and see now we can remove the card or not. Yes, of course we can remove the card, and the best thing is state is persisted while switching between different pages via the global state management. Yes, the last functionality regarding this React Kanban is adding new cards. Like if we have a look at developed version, there is a plus icon. On clicking this, I can make the new card, and let's say important task, add this. Here it is added. Now I can move it in any column. I can create a card in any column at any time, and also there is a validation that if there is nothing inside the title or detail, then the ad should be disabled. So let's see how we can do this. As all functionality of adding a card is happening in the header of column, so I am minimizing this render card, and here I will use the render column header. Okay, yes, we can make a custom header also. So for that one, again the props, and let's write some JSX here. So div, okay, the div should be like this, and here I will write the span. Again, inside the span I am going to have the title of our column. So props dot title. By the way, this time in the props we are not having the card, but we are having the column. Okay, so what we have actually is inside the index.js we are having this object which is having the id, title, and an array of name cards. So this is what it is returning as a prop. Okay, and here I would like to give it a class name. So class name is column header. Save this. Here I am making an IOMD add icon from the React icons. Give it a color of white and a size of 25 pixels. Then the title should be add card. Okay, format the code. Let's see. Of course it will have an error because we have not imported the icon yet. So on the very top, by the way, I am minimizing this get gradient. Okay, so on the very top, right, import IOMD add from React icons IO. Now there should not be any kind of error. Let's refresh. Yeah, we are having this plus sign. Of course we have to style this. So in the styling, in the board.css, here I am saying the dot column header is going to have a width of 100% with the display flags justify content space between and a padding of 0 pixels and 8 pixels. Let's save. Yeah, it's in a correct format. Also, I want to make the cursor as pointer on hovering the plus icon. So for that one, I will say the column header is having an SVG. For that one, make the cursor as pointer. Let's save this. Yeah. The next thing we want, when we click on this add button, the model should be pop up for adding a new card. So let's see how we can make that pop up. I am going to the components folder here. At the very top, I am making a new folder with the name add card model, and inside this again I will make the two files add card model.jsx and modular css. So okay, so inside the JSX here write RAFCE and import its CSS by writing import CSS from relative add card model dot module dot CSS. Okay, so for making this model I am going to use a library which is called Rodal. If I go to its website here, ROADAL, and yeah, you can find its documentation properly on the GitHub link, and there is a demo of how this library works. There are many variants and I'm going to use this zoom variant. You can also apply like slide up, flip, and there are many other also, but we are going to use this zoom variant. So let's see how we can integrate this. So instead of simply this div here, I will say Rodel and import it from the library by auto import. Then it accepts some parameters. So visible means at which time it should be visible and at which time it should be closed. So for closing this, here we have to pass the parameter of onClose. Of course, I will receive these parameters from the parent components. So like these things, and let's say for now I am just saying it as model for form. Let's save this. Now try to import this inside our board.jsx, but before doing this I have to import the CSS that comes with this library. You can import this by writing this. Okay, I should make it upper and our CSS should be lower than this. Okay, let's save this, and inside my board.jsx here after our add icon I am adding this model add card by auto import, and then I have to pass the parameter of visible. So for this I am saying model open and then on close. So by the way, first of all I will make a use state. Okay, so as this is our custom component, here I can say const model open and set model open from the use state, like this. So if I format the code, okay, make this here for the better reading. Here I will make a function which will say set model open as false, like this. Let's format the code again. Okay, if I save this and see if there is any kind of error or not. Okay, there is an error. Let's see what's the error here. It is saying use state is not defined. Okay, so I think I have to manually, now it should work. It's working. If I click on this button, okay, the problem is because here I made the set model open and I should make this one on click set model open to true. Now it should work. So if I click on this, a model is appearing. We can close this and we can open it from any column. The next task is to move towards the styling of this model and making a form inside this. Let's move to our add card.jsx means model, and here I am going to make an object for our custom styling. Const custom style is equal to, I will give it a background color. So for the background color I am just copy and pasting a value. You can also do this from the video. So like this one, then it should have a padding. I am giving it a padding of 20 pixels with the width. So for the width give the 50%, and from the top it should have a -3 rem, and then the height of the model should be fit content, like this. Okay, there is a problem with the spelling, I think so, not the spelling but the comma here. And then the last is maximum width that the model can attain. So I am saying the maximum width is 40 rem. Let's save this and I will pass this custom style here in the parameter. So it should be custom styles, not only the custom style. And here I am making a custom styles equal to custom styles. Let's save this. Now try to open the model. Yeah, this is our requirement. We want a model should be like this. Okay, continue to make a form inside this model now. So I am making a container now. Inside this container I have to make the head. So in the head I am making a span with the class name of label and say it as car title. Okay, after this I have to give the input for this title. So input and then yeah, type text, but the class name should be css dot input with the value. Okay, as all things should be a controlled input, so I will make the two use states here. Const equal to title set title react.useState, and then const detail, not the description, and set details. Okay, that's why I like the AI, how easily it is generating code for me. And it would be better if I say it only detail, not the details. Okay, then on next I will make an other div for the details. So div inside which I will have the label. So and inside this label this time I will say as detail, and the other thing is text area. So text area, it should be a self-closing component. Now pass the props for this one. Rows 10, the class name is same, so css dot input, and value is equal to the detail, yes, and type should be equal to text. Okay, and there is something happened. Let's format the code, delete the extra line. Okay, the one thing that I missed here is value should be equal to the title for the title, and when I change the input field on change, okay, so what it should do on change, e is the event on this one, then set title, yeah, the very basic stuff we do in the React, e dot target dot value. So I am using the same approach here, and I am just copying this, pasting it here, and it is again a problem occurred, I think so. Okay, and instead of set title this time I will say set detail. Okay, let's save this. Everything is looking fine. Let's see in the browser, is there any error? Okay, there is an error again, and this time the error is css label is not defined. I missed a stop somewhere. Yeah, the full stop means the dot. Now if I open this, yeah, it is containing a card title and the detail. I also want a button here, so for making the button outside of this div I will make a button with the class name of save button, and here I am simply saying add. For now it's just this, but I can add the validation on the go. I will say the button is disabled only if title is equal to null string and detail is also equal to null string. If anything is not a null string, means if title is not null or detail is not null, then make the add as not a disabled button. Okay, let's save this and see. Yeah, the button is here. It's time to style our component. So here I am opening add card module. Oh, so first thing first, target the most parent container, and in this display flex width 100% with the direction of column, and the color of text should be white inside this. Okay, then I am targeting the divs inside the container, means the first child as div. So margin top should be 2 rem for that one. Then the label that we are using for the title as well as for the detail, I am saying font weight should be bold here with the font size of 1.2 rem, and then the input that is common for the text area and the input itself, I am making color as white here. By the way, here I made a mistake. It should not be in string. It should be like this. Okay. And then the font family inherit margin top 12 pixel with the display block. Background color. Okay. Background color is transparent with the outline none. So outline none. Let's save and see. Yeah, still, but they are not taking the 100% width. So try more things. First, I will make the border is as 1 pixel solid with some color. You can again copy and paste this color like this with the font size of 1.2 rem, font weight of 300, padding of 10 pixels, width of 100%. As we have seen that was not taking the full width, but now it will. The border radius should be 8 pixels for the input field with the resize property as none, because we want text area should not be resizable, which is the default behavior of text area. Let's save and see. Yeah, the inputs are looking very good and clear, and our button is disabling, means changing its state very accordingly. If both are empty, button is disabled. If there is something in any field, then the button is not disabled. Very cool. Let's try to focus on the styling of this button especially. So save button, make the width as 6 rem, align self at the flex end, means on the right side with the margin top of 1.5 rem and a background color. So for the background I can use my orange gradient that we have in the index css. Then make the border as none, the padding of 10 pixels, color should be white with the cursor as pointer on this button with the border radius of 8 pixels. Okay, let's save this and see here. Okay, but now the problem is our button is not showing a custom css for the disabled state, means the css like the styling of the button is same for the disabled as well as the active state. So we can write custom code for disabled state. Here I will again target the save button, and this time I will say on disabled state of this one, make the background color as gray. Let's save this and see. Yeah, working very nice. So now our next target should be on adding the logic of adding a new card. Means right now I can open the model, I can have the form, but I am not able to add the card. So let's make the logic of adding card in any column. So let's move to the add card model here, and yeah, here I will add the logic on this button. I will say on click perform a function, and in this function I will call the handle card add with the title and the detail, and then make the set detail as null and set title also null. Actually null strings, not the null. Okay, now I have to make this function handle card add. So control C, and I will receive it as a parameter on the very top. Let's save this and see. Yeah, so far no error. Then in the board.jsx, here is my add card model. I am pasting this, and here I have to write the logic of adding a new card. So again I will make this function inside this custom component. I will say const handle card add, then it will receive the two props that we are passing from the add card model, here the title and the detail. So I will receive it here. Simply write title and detail. On next I will make a temporary card object that will mimic as a card that we have inside our data. So as our card for this project have a unique ID, so yeah, as get time gives even a small fraction than a second, so it is going to be unique always. then title, and then we have a description. So for the description we will use the detail. Now again I'm going to use the built-in function add card from the library. So update board, here I have to pass the board, and I also have to pass the props here and then the card. So what is the props here? As is a column header, so in the column header we are having the complete column data as a props. So I am passing our board, the relative column, and the card that we want to add. Then set board equal to updated board, like this, and then at the last set model open as false. So this is the complete logic. Let's save this and see if this works or not. Refresh, and then in the backlog I will try important task important detail. Okay, add, and yeah, the card is added. We can move this. Yes, we can move this it in any column, and I can add card in any column. So doing card, doing front end projects. Okay, yeah, so that was our complete Trello board. I hope you liked it, and just think about the possibilities you can make with the help of this tutorial, with the help of this library, and the amazing custom codes. Okay, so even you can build your own Trello startup like a Trello has, then you can also have your own Trello board application which can do even more things. And the next thing is now remaining is our data grid here that we have in a built version, where we can perform a lot of filtering, a lot of functions are here. So let's move on this users page. So let's close all of these files here, and also all files here. Inside my pages, here inside the pages I am going to make another folder with the name of data grid. Inside this, let's make data grid.jsx and a modular css data grid.module.css. okay, and then here in the JSX RAFCE, let's save this, import its CSS here, import CSS from the relative module.css. let's save and move to our app.jsx to include it as a route. So I'm just copying this and pasting it here. Instead of board, this time it will be users, and call the component of data grid. Yes, auto import it. Let's save it. Here you can see it is auto imported. And in my application, let's see if I visit now users. Yes, this is my data grid page. Okay, so how I'm going to make this table? For this table, I'm going to use the material React table. Believe me, it's very awesome library. You can see its number of downloads, and even its size is very recommendable, and it has a lot of documentation, lot of custom features you can make. So I'm just going to use its very basic version like this one, and I'm going to tell you how you can integrate it in your application. But you can learn more about this. You can apply server-side pagination, and let me know if you want a full detailed tutorial upon material React table, then I will also make this. But for this tutorial, let's start making a very basic table that we have in the built version. Okay, in the code here, instead of this data grid, now I'm making a div with the name of table container. Okay, if I am using the table container, not the CSS, then instead of this modular, just give me a second. Yeah, don't use the module here, use the simple CSS, and also remove this. Just import the CSS as from the relative folder datagrid.css. okay, and inside this one I'm going to use the material React table. This is a self-closing component. Okay, auto import is not working, so I have to import it on the very top manually like this. You can import this, Okay, let's save this, and it will have an error for now because we are not providing the data like the columns and the rows data. So first thing, it has the columns, so columns is equal to columns. Now for the columns, what I am going to do here, it is like defining a schema in your database. So same thing we are doing here. Const columns, we will use the use memo hook, so that if you are using a very large amount of data, then it should not calculate the columns again and again. Okay, means on every render. And it is a type of array which is this function returning from the use memo. And in this array we have the array of object. Okay, so this object has accessor key. Accessor key is basically the property of that column that should be rendered in the rows. So I say the first name should be rendered in a column which has the heading of first name. By the way, we should have a look at the data. Okay, if I go to my data, yeah, inside here index.js, and this is my user table data. I have made a comment. Here you can see I have an array of object, and each object is giving me information about individual user. So first of all, each user have a name which is consisting of first name and last name, then address, city and state. So if I minimize this, so if I minimize the full user, then similarly there is a second user which have this data, then there is a third user. So I have just simple list of user. And as you know, here I am saying the header first name should say name dot first name. So inside the name I have this first name, we are accessing it by a string. So for the other properties, yes, you are predicting right. I am just copy and pasting it, but instead of first name, this time it will be last name, and the header should say it as last name. Then again copy and paste this. Actually I am just copy and pasting at once. So yeah, the address should be accessed by the header address, then city by city and state by state. Let's format the code. So our columns are provided. It's time to give it the data from index.js. I am exporting this as the user data. So what I can do here, data equals to user data, control plus space. Yes, it should be auto imported, but auto import is not working. So I am going to do import user data like this again. Okay, then control S, and let's see, here I have the table which is having all the functionalities that comes built in with the material React table. Okay, like the filtration and the full screen view. You can change the density, the pagination, all things are built in. You just have to plug and play with this. But the theme is not accurate according to our application. It should not be white, it should be black as we have in our developed version. So for making this, here we have to give it a theme provider. Okay, so first I have to make a theme for the theme provider. So I am saying const theme equal to use memo, and inside the use memo create theme. Why we are using use memo again and again? Okay, here I made a mistake. So why we are using use memo again and again? Because we can have a lot of data inside the cells of the data. So to avoid the regeneration of same code due to the re-rendering of same component, we are using the use memo, because use memo memorize your constants or state of data, and it does not re-render it again and again, or does not calculate it again and again. Okay, so for this the palette should be mode equal to dark. Then create theme should be imported from the MUI material, and not only the material, here I should also say styles, and with the create theme also import the theme provider like this. So I have to wrap my material table with the theme provider. So theme provider, theme equals to theme. Let's wrap it around, delete this extra line. Let's save, and now see, yes, I have my table which is now in a dark theme, but it is having borders around its TD, means the data cells. So let's fix this by our custom CSS inside the datagrid.css. Here the first thing that I am going to say, I will say the table container should have the padding of 3 rem, 5 rem, like this. With the table container is having its first child, which is a div, make the border radius of 10 pixels, as it is coming from the library, so I have to put it as important so that our styling overrides the default styling. Then overflow should be hidden, also make it as important. Then MUI row root and the MUI table cell, again root. For both of them make the border as none and also important. Let's save this. Yeah, now our table is exactly in the same format as we have in the built version, and now you can perform filtering according to any column. Even you can combine the filters, like in Ohio I want to see if there is a person with the name John. No, there is no, but with the name Jane, yes, this is. So you can provide a combination of filters. You can filter by a single value that can occur in any column, like Lincoln is in the city, so it is appearing. And then you can also handle the rows per page, the density, and the most advanced feature is the full screen view. Yes, many libraries lack this feature of toggle full screen. So this is it from this tutorial. We have our dashboard page, calendar page, board, and the data table. Let me know in your comments, and the likes on this video will encourage me to make a full stack version of this dashboard. If you give me enough response, means the comments and the likes for a full stack version, then I will try to make a backend service for this, maybe by the Firebase or MongoDB or anything you recommend or you people want to use. I will integrate it with that backend and upload a full stack tutorial of this dashboard. Keep supporting ZAINKEEPSCODE, and if you have not liked the video yet, then please like this and share this with your friends, because I am uploading a lot of content here and it takes really a lot of time and effort for me. So do subscribe, share and like. I will see you in some next tutorial. Till then, goodbye.